Hey everyone, this is Joe with Quad Specs, and today I'm excited to go over the Aomway Commander. Aomway. These are the Commander V1 goggles. So we're excited to get this box open. Today we'll look at the features of these goggles, and then we'll also look at some side-by-side comparisons of the Fat Shark HD3 DVR footage next to the Aomway Commander V1 footage. So we're extremely excited to get this box open. I'm so excited that I actually am very impatient and I already unboxed it. So this is technically the re-unboxing of the Aomway Commander V1 goggles. So disclaimer, the contents of this box may have shifted during the initial unboxing. So with that said, let's get started.
All right, let's take a look at the contents of this fancy box. As you first open it, you'll find an instruction manual. The first side is going to have the instructions in English, and on the back side, or I guess you could call it the front side, the instructions are in Chinese. So if you buy these goggles and you don't understand one of these two languages, tough luck figuring out what you need to do. Next up is the extra set of padding that comes with. This is, I believe, the thicker set, and the other set comes installed already on the goggles. So pretty straightforward. Now for the accessory bag here. First thing we have is a patch antenna, which is ideal for receiving signals that are directly in front of the patch. And then the cloverleaf style antenna, which is ideal for receiving signals from any direction. The only problem there is the signal strength is not as high with this type as it is with the directional patch style. And lastly, for this little bag of accessories is the Aomway DC adapter. It's got a 2S, 3S, 4S, so essentially you just plug in your battery charging port from your battery into one of these, and it spits out voltage that plugs into the goggles. And we'll show you just why that's a nice thing to have with this set of goggles. And lastly, for the accessories, is just an audio video cable. This would plug into your source or your receiver, and then this would plug into your goggles. So it just depends. It's a multi-use cable. And now for the goggles themselves, which come in a pretty nice hard case, which is nice to have when you're out in the field and you don't want to have your goggles sitting out in the sun and getting destroyed. And here we have the Aomway Commander V1s. Alright, now we'll go through the features from left to right on the goggles. This is the top side of the goggles. Starting on the left is the headphone jack. Next is the micro SD card slot, and you can put up to a 32 gigabyte card on this unit. The next button is the channel/band button. So this is what lets you search for the signal that's being output from the VTX on your quad. And the mode button, which is kind of a multi-use button. Left, right, up, and down lets you change the brightness and contrast of the video within the goggles. And then the middle button lets you change between the analog source and then HD sources, because on the bottom side of these you can also plug an HD video feed into the goggles and display those. Next is the DVR button. So a long 3-second press will initiate the recording functionality, and then after that a 1-second press will start the record session, following up with another 1-second press which would stop your record session. The up and down on this is for when you actually enter into the playback feature, where you can play back your video feed that you just recorded. The final button on the top is the head tracker/fan button. We won't go into the head tracker since we didn't buy the module, and because that would probably warrant its own video in itself. The fan, any single press of this button will initiate the fan, and it'll turn on for 10 minutes. So 2 presses equals 20 minutes and so on. On the bottom side, again, we've got the head tracker data port, which we won't really go over. The 2 interpupillary distance sliders to adjust for the width between your eyes, an audio video out/in port, which is used as we discussed before with this adapter cable, and finally the HDMI input port. I haven't found a reason that I would be using this on a regular basis, but it is available. And then in the middle is the actual fan. So it's got the vents in there to keep air flowing through when you turn those on. And then obviously on the front, they've got the 2 receivers for the antennas and the DC port. All right, so we pretty well have everything installed at this point. We have both antennas, the patch and the omnidirectional. You can see here the micro SD card has been installed. We have a 2500 milliamp hour TAT2 battery that we got from Mid-America Multi-Rotor, and it's kind of nice. This battery actually has a capacity indicator, so it says low 30%, 60%, and 100%. Right now we're at 30%. And then you can see on the extension here, so the battery strap is actually on the back, and most battery cables are not going to extend all the way over to the side port. So this is really nice that they've included this connection that goes to your balance port and just extends a 2S, 3S, or 4S battery all the way over to the DC connector. So that's pretty nice. We have the, let me make sure here, the DVR has been engaged by pushing this for 3 seconds. We'll turn on the recording by tapping it once. So we'll be able to see a few of these different settings changes here in a second. So channel band, short press will change between 1 through 8. A 3-second press will change between A, B, C, D, E channels. And then finally, if you want to skip all of that manual garble, hold it down for 5 seconds and it'll do an auto search and find the correct channel. The only other thing we can really show you on here is the contrast and brightness. I believe left and right is probably brightness, and up and down or forward and backward is contrast. And then if we press the mode, you can see we'll switch between the different video modes, analog signal, 2D, and then 3D. And I believe there's a couple HD settings that do not allow recording. Let me get back to, here we go, back to the analog signal. So that's pretty much all we can really show you through the DVR functionality. The DVR button here, obviously, so we can stop the DVR by tapping the button again, and we can turn it on and get right back to where we left off. So here we'll turn on the fan. You can't really hear it or see anything spinning, but that'll run for 10 minutes now that I've pressed that button. So those are the features. Let's take a look at some of the DVR footage, and we'll compare the DVR footage from this with the Fat Shark HD3s and see just how they compare. So by now you've probably noticed that the HD3 has quite a bit of choppiness in its DVR feed. I don't know what's going on there. That's not typically something that happens with the DVR footage from this. So I wouldn't necessarily look at that as saying the Aomways are better than the HD3s. But what you can see from these feeds is the Aomway DVR functionality, and the DVR output is actually really good quality. So focus less on the fact that the HD3 video is choppy and more on the fact that the Aomway has a very good DVR function. Alright, while you watch the rest of this video footage, let's go over our first impressions. And first with the pros. 1, these are really comfortable. There weren't any pressure points anywhere on our face. 2, there's a lot of functionality with these. They have the diversity built in straight out of the box. 3, it has DVR, and it just so happens to be really good quality. And I would say 4, they just look pretty darn slick in my opinion. So For the cons, the only thing I can really think of at this point is the fact that the field of view isn't really large. So if you're used to a really big field of view, an immersive flying experience, you're pretty well stuck with the HD3s or some type of box style goggles. So that's all we really have to say for that, and I highly recommend these, and I hope if you're looking for a pair of goggles in this price range, you check out the Aomway Commander V1s. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you next time.